retriever be called a Gobert? And he was like, because Siberian. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, it wasn't immediately apparent, but it's a thing. But she's too young to be around other dogs.
Also, Hustreaver just doesn't sound right.
Right, yeah, Hustreaver. But so she's at like puppy camp and can't be around adult dogs until she gets a certain amount of shots. But Otis was sort of just like my friend's house it's a nice house. It's lots of room and lots of windows, and and he was just like walking around like, smells like a puppy. There is no puppy.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Where is he?
Where? Like, not freaking out, but just like what is this place? It's dog-like, yet there is no dog. It was so cute.
Well,
I know.
It's Roger, about time to do some daily tech news.
Roger, don't you want a dog? Doesn't that sound fun?
Your 2 children.
I have 2 kids.
I know.
Well, one's a baby. Actually, once they get older, then if you have kids that are
one's a baby, one's a kid, one's a baby.
Listen, the ulcers don't end until they finish college.
That's probably true.
Looking like a true dad.
Yeah, right. At least you know what you've gotten into.
All right, let's do some tech news. I'm excited. We got some good stuff today.
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. Are you ready, Mr. Chang?
Yes.
Here we go. In 3, 2. Chris Rockow has supported independent tech news directly for 5 years. Be like Chris. Become a DTNS member at patreon.com/DTNS. This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, March 5th, 2019 in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
We have got cooking news. We've got welding news. We've got kitchenware news and glass news and video doorbell news. I'm very excited about today's show. For those people who are like, all you ever talk about is Google, Amazon, and Facebook. Well, this is the show for you today. Let's start with a few tech things you should know.
The National Security Agency shut down a system of logs of U.S. domestic calls and text. This is according to Luke Murray, the U.S. House Minority Leader's National Security Advisor. This halts a program that's involved disputes about privacy and the rule of law since the September 11th, 2001 attacks. Edward Snowden disclosed the program's existence back in 2013 and contributed to awareness of how both governments and private companies harvest and exploit personal data.
Well, Spotify's been around in India for about a week now, and they say they've added more than 1 million users across both their paid and free tiers. Now, for perspective, India has a population of 1.3 billion, with more than 400 million smartphone users, so there's still room to grow. Reuters reports that Tencent-backed Gaana, Gaana, leads the Indian market with about 80 million monthly users.
Well, we promised you kitchenware, and this is the first one. Corel Brands, which markets kitchenware under the Corningware and Pyrex brands, announced plans to merge with Instant Brands. Instant Brands, the makers of Instant Pot. Instant Brand CEO Robert Wang said that it will help expand product development. He'll stay on as the company merges as Chief Innovation Officer, and Instant Brands will continue to operate out of its offices in Ottawa, Canada.
I didn't realize that Instant Pot was
I didn't.
out of Canada.
I did not either.
That's why it's so nice and polite.
That's why it works so well.
All right, let's talk a little more about video doorbells. August, by the way, owned by a lock maker in, I think, Switzerland, not owned by Google, Amazon, Facebook, or Apple. August introduced the August View doorbell. It's a video doorbell for $230, available in the United States starting March 28th. The View has a shape that could fit more easily on your door frame than the previous model, and it's also battery powered now. Before, they only sold a hardwired model, which some people want to prefer because then they don't have to change the batteries out. But if you don't have hard wiring, this means you've got another option. View it in a lot more places. It also comes with a remote doorbell chime, a rechargeable battery, and a micro USB cable.
Well, Tom, as a person who has recently purchased a home, this would be something that you might look into. As a renter, I kind of read these stories and I'm like, I don't know, I'll move soon. I don't want to go through the trouble. Does this sound good to you?
Well, and I'd throw it back at you after I answer. Won't refuse to answer. But the fact that this is a battery powered one makes it a little more of a possibility for you as
That's
a renter,
true.
right?
Yeah.
Because you can just unscrew it and take it with you when you move, versus the hardwired one, which I guess you can still unscrew and take it with you, but it just makes it that much more that much easier to pop on and off. It is definitely attractive to me, although $230 is not the cheapest. In fact, I just bought a ring, which because Amazon owns them, I was like, oh, do I really want a ring? I put it off. Eileen, my wife, really wanted one. So I finally got it because it was on sale for $160. It was, they threw in a free, what was it they threw in for free? I want to say it was a free battery, but it wasn't a free battery. What did they threw in something for free? I don't remember what it was.
USB cable.
No, it wasn't a USB cable. Anyway, they threw in something for free, and so I was like, okay, that's a pretty good deal. $230 though is not outlandish. And honestly, if I had known that they were updating this View Video doorbell last week, I might have held off because I would like to diversify outside of these ecosystems. I try to keep some of my stuff in Google, some in Apple, some in Amazon. It'd be nice to be in August, which isn't related to any of those.
Well, and I totally understand what you mean by that. At the same time, we do see stories, and we'll talk about a few of them later on the show, of smaller companies that shut down because they aren't part of that big ecosystem. So if you are, I don't know, if you're going to throw $200 plus into something, there is a part of me that's like, well, if it's owned by Amazon, like it's probably not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so there's a little bit of that going on
that's
too.
Actually, the nice thing about August is it's owned by a lockmaker, that's been around for a long time. So it's probably not going anywhere either because it has a nice traditional, well-established company behind it. It was the door chime extension that I got. Which is probably not something I would have bothered paying for, but it's kind of nice. You plug it into the wall, it connects by Wi-Fi, and then it's not just ringing on your phone. You can also hear it in the room if you don't have your phone nearby. That's kind of nice. Anyway, yeah, I think the reason you're seeing a lot of buzz around this right now is because it's from August and not from one of the companies that everyone accuses of spying, which is an important thing for a lot of people these days. Assa Abloy is the parent company. It's a Swedish lock manufacturer, formed in 1994 when Assa AB was separated from Swedish security firm Securitas AB. So there you go.
Yeah, and if this is something that you've bought or you're planning to buy and you've got a good reason, let us know. All right. John Bain, general manager at glass manufacturer Corning, told Wired that his company is working on a bendable version of Gorilla Glass that could be available then in the next 2 years or even sooner. Corning is targeting a 3.325 millimeter bend radii for its 1.1 millimeter track. I knew I was going to get this wrong. Millimeter thick glass while increasing damage resistance. So pretty cool stuff. Corning makes bendable willow glass, but its manufacturing process requires a dip in salt solution, which would corrode in-glass transistors needed for displays that Samsung and Huawei's bendable phones use plastic screens, which are less likely to be scratch resistant. So, coincidentally, Apple invested $200 million in Corning back in 2017 in order to support research and development.
Yeah, so the upshot here is that we could get the durability of Gorilla Glass in a bendable screen. Right now, it's one or the other. You could get durable Gorilla Glass, or you can get the bendable screen. Like you said, Samsung and Huawei's bendable screens are plastic, which is why there's a lot of worry about tempered glass covers and things like that. And Corning thinks that it can balance the durability with that thin glass that you would need for bendable, which would be amazing. And like you mentioned, Apple really doesn't want to do plastic screens. They've made that very clear over the years. So that's why you won't see an Apple bendable phone, is my guess, until there's a bendable glass version of this.
Well, and it looks to be the case that Apple has invested in exactly that.
Yeah.
or something that might be exactly that somewhere down the line.
I mean, it does still leave the question open. Do you want a bendable screen, right? But even if it's not about a foldable phone, right? A lot of people are like, ooh, a foldable iPad, a foldable iPhone, maybe. And Apple has some patents out there that indicate they've looked into that sort of thing and how they would do it. And maybe this is another time when Apple comes in and says, oh yeah, they're all doing foldable phones, but let's show you how you should do it a foldable phone. That's the old Apple magic of the past. Maybe they can pull that off again. Or it may just be different form factors. It may be devices that aren't necessarily foldable, but have wraparound screens or something like that.
Yeah. Or something that, I don't know, if you put in your back pocket and it sort of folds into your person in whatever way, depending on, how tight your jeans might be. Not even gonna get into that. But that's the sort of thing where it's like, oh, okay, maybe not foldable, but something that actually just works better day to day and might not be, this I don't know, something that changes the landscape, but actually just works better. Go ahead, Reg.
I was just thinking, like, what if they upgraded the watch to a band where you can have the display across the band?
That's like a little flexy. Yeah. What are those called? The snap things that you love? The snap on your wrist?
The bracelet? The ones you get from bicycles?
Yeah, the snap bracelets. Yeah.
Oh,
who loves those?
Roger does.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh.
Bangles? Are those not bangles? I'm thinking of something.
In a similar vein, scientists from Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh have developed a system that uses picosecond pulses of infrared light in tracks along materials in order to weld glass to metal. The team has welded quartz, borosilicate, and sapphire glasses to metals like aluminum, titanium, and stainless steel. The welds held at temperatures from -50 up to 90 degrees Celsius. If you're one of those Fahrenheit people in the US, the 90 is close to boiling and -50 is 50 below freezing. Glass and metal have different thermal properties, which makes them very difficult to weld. So most of the time when you see glass and metal put together in your devices, it's adhesive. That adhesive can slip over time. It often outgasses. A lot of the yellowing of screens is thought to have been adhesive that is outgassing over time. In any case, adhesives usually reduce product lifetime. So this would make for more durable devices. The process will have direct applications, according to the scientists, in aerospace, defense, optical technology, and healthcare. So its biggest use may not be in your phone or your consumer device, but in more industrial applications, but it's still a big advance.
Well, and I think that so many, if you're talking about a device, for example, and that kind of yellowing or something's weird, how do these adhesives work? Most of us don't really understand this. So the technology under the hood, as it were, is actually really cool. And there are bright days ahead, considering that the way that metal and glass might work together going forward is actually just a lot stronger.
Yeah, and when you talk about tough books, durable phones, hardened for industrial use, out in the field or military use, this makes those a lot tougher than they are now. Right now, a lot of that sort of durability factor in devices has to do with casing. Putting some kind of shock absorbent casing. I actually use an Exdoria case that's a mil spec case, the defense case on my phone, because it's got that shock absorption, right? That's your best defense right now. If, however, you can make it so the device itself just holds together more, that a shock is not going to loosen the adhesive, but this thing is welded tight, then it's not like you get rid of those shock absorbent cases, but they have to do less. And so it just toughens up the entire device. I'm curious of people out there who know welding, and I know you're out there. What do you think of this? What are the parts that we're not thinking of right now that are going to be huge benefits for devices that can be made with this process? Because from everything I've read, we got the story from phys.org, but I looked around and saw a few other places picking it up. A lot of people think this is a significant advance that's going to have some pretty great repercussions.
If they can advance it so the temperature threshold is broader, you could use it in aviation, right? You wouldn't need to necessarily create when you have a window on a bolt, on the fuselage of a plane. I mean, you got to essentially bolt it there to keep it together. But if you can weld it and it maintains the same strength, you could reduce a significant amount of weight, which is crucial in aviation, because every pound you add means burnt fuel that doesn't give you money in return.
That's a great thought, because those bolts add up over the course of a big jumbo jet.
mean, this is the thing. Like before welding with big ships, big ocean liners, they riveted them together. The problem is they get very heavy, and so when they discovered, or when they not discovered, but when they invented welding, they started welding ships. It allowed them to create a ship that was significantly lighter because you didn't have all these bolts and rivets. I mean, the same thing with aviation. When they made jets, they riveted them together, and then they said, "Hey, well, we just weld this, reduce all the rivets. You lose maybe 15% of the weight." Makes the plane lighter, use less fuel, makes it go faster, and the rest. So, I mean, if they can, this is just the beginning, but if they can bring out the thermal properties and use different, thicker, more precious, pressure resistant glass, be awesome.
Well, in wearables news, pardon me, IDC is now including earbuds and headphones that connect to smart assistants in its wearables number. Apple still leads with AirPods and some Beats headphone models added to Apple Watches for a total of 46.2 million in 2018. Xiaomi came in second at 45% with the Mi Band 3 as the best-selling wrist-worn fitness tracker in the entire world. Fitbits fell 10% to third. Huawei jumped 147% to fourth, and Samsung took fifth place. IDC also noted that disappearance of headphone jacks and the rise of in-ear biometrics and smart assistants as the reason it sees ear-worn wearables as the next product battleground.
It may just be the fact that they called it ear-worn wearables that made me want to include this. But yeah, I think it is legitimate to say, having a voice assistant in your Jabra or your AirPods or whatever you're wearing is a wearable now. That's not just headphones. It's not just an extension of your phone. It's a separate thing. And some of these can even have some onboard processing for voice recognition that can do a few things on their own. So if your Apple Watch can be considered a wearable, even if it doesn't have a built-in LTE connection of its own, certainly your earbuds could. And if anybody doesn't realize, we started a program called Live With It, where Sarah is taking a device and spending 3 months just living with it to give us a more long-term view of products. And the first product are Jabra earbuds. So this is right. You're right on trend with those, Sarah.
I would thank you. I would definitely call them wearables. I mean, yes, they're earbuds, but this is something that is it is Amazon Assistant enabled. I can use it as my phone device-ish, right? If I get a phone call while I'm out and about, or play music or podcasts, or there are so many different facets of it that it's like, yeah, it is a wearable. It definitely is a wearable. There is a form factor that may or may not work for you, and that's actually something that I have some thoughts about, as do many other people, because it's a very personal thing. I think even more so than something that you would wear on your wrist. But yeah, it is a wearable, and it should be included as such in these numbers.
Yeah, IDC's total is 172 million smart wearables shipped in 2018. Half the number of personal computers that shipped. You can glass half full, glass half empty that number and say, well, personal computers have been stagnating, so it's not a great number if it's only half of that. But this is a growing market versus a stagnating market. So, this is a significant market that is only showing that it's getting larger and larger. And IDC thinks that the ears are the next, the wrist is kind of well played out, right? It's not that we won't see that continue to grow, but we kind of know what can be done on the wrist right now. The ears seem to be where the next frontier for this, for companies to make new stuff is.
Yeah. I mean, it's the way that a speaker can now be a smart speaker. Okay. Well, what can it do? It can play things, but it's interactive. If there is a certain amount of interactivity, I think that that's a wearable, and that's very valid.
Universities and academics have been pushing for open access to published research, well, pretty much ever since the internet began, if not before. The internet makes it easier to search and access peer-reviewed research. There's things like Sci-Hub and Archive with an X that make it easier to find data than ever before. You don't have to plow through the stacks. You don't have to dig through the library cards anymore, the Dewey Decimals, the card catalogs, all of that stuff. But it threatens the bottom line of journals. Journals for years have been the caretakers of what gets published and how you access it, and they've made a lot of money doing that. So they're pushing back as open access threatens their bottom line, or at least they see it as threatening their bottom line. Well, the University of California system, the whole system, not just one campus, has made open access provisions for its research a requirement for renewing subscriptions to journals. And their first negotiation, which it was with the journal publisher Elsevier. Elsevier agreed to terms if UC authors paid publishing fees to get published in the journals. They said, fine, we'll allow anything that gets published from UC to be open access if you pay extra. As a result, the University of California system and its 10 campuses have decided not to renew subscriptions with Elsevier journals. It's about $11 million that the journal publisher is going to lose out on. It makes billions of dollars, so it's not a huge percentage, but it's not nothing. They followed the National Library Consortiums in Germany, Hungary, and Sweden, however, who have all made the same decision. And if each one of those has taken even just a couple million, that's going to start to eat away. UC researchers will rely on preprints of journal articles, as well as Sci-Hub, where you can sometimes find these articles anyway, to obtain copies of the research that they would otherwise get from Elsevier. And I think the most significant thing is the UC system doing this now will encourage other systems to say, well, wait a minute, maybe we got some leverage now. If all 10 campuses in California are doing this, maybe we can jump on board and change the way this works.
The UC system is for anybody not familiar with California. I mean, it's a huge system. So this is significant in that sense. If I were to be kind of that layman saying, but Tom, what does that mean for research? Am I going to get more great research papers that get dropped into my lap, or am I going to get less? Like, is this good or bad?
It's good. The people who lose out are the journal publishers. Now, the journal publishers will argue that it's going to make it more difficult to publish research. But honestly, most people agree, and I know some people don't, but most people agree that you don't really need the journals anymore. You just need a good peer review system. And there are starting to be good models of open publishing that include valuable peer review. So if the journals aren't going to play, this is the kind of thing that signals they may get the rug pulled out of them the way the music industry and the video industry and print have, and other kinds of print have had the rug pulled out of them because of the internet model. And so there are some journals out there that are adapting to this, but you really do need to adapt to it. And Elsevier doesn't seem to be doing that at this point.
Well, have I got a great story for everybody? MIT's mini-cheetah robot. Yes, you heard me right. A mini-cheetah robot has a very cool skill. Among other things, it can achieve a 360-degree backflip from a standing position. Researchers claim that the mini-cheetah is virtually indestructible and can recover with little damage, even if a backflip doesn't land, even if you don't stick the landing. The cheetah is a 20-pound quadruped that can bend and swing its legs wide, enabling it to walk either right side up or upside down. The robot can also traverse uneven terrain about twice as fast as an average person's walking speed. So it's a pretty cool robot. The cheetah also has a modular design, so each leg is powered by 3 motors made of off-the-shelf parts. So if a motor is damaged, it can be easily swapped out for a new one. The researchers will present the mini-cheetah's design at the International Conference on Robotics and Automation. That happens in May. They hope to build 10 of these and then loan them out to other labs. Next up, figuring out a landing controller so you could toss it and have it land on its feet still.
Yeah, part of this is just, wow, they can do that, right? Yeah. That is an amazing advance in robotics. But I feel like there's some pretty practical uses for this. When you say, oh, you can throw it and it lands on its feet, that sounds like you're torturing the thing, because you wouldn't do that to your cat or your dog. But if this is a robot that you're like in the first thing that always comes to my mind with these robots these days is rescue situations. And you're like, this is a burning building. We need to see if anybody's in there. Throw the dog or the cheetah in through the window. And it will land on its feet and be able to maneuver through uneven terrain and give you a view, maybe even do some other manipulations to help fight the fire or whatever, right? Like that's incredibly useful.
Yeah, that's a great use case. And I know we were kicking this around before the show when we were talking about the story, because I was sort of like, this is so great, but who cares? I mean, do we need a back flipping robot? But yes, when you talk about something like that, that is a perfect use case for something like this, where, yeah, things, there might be debris, or, the stairs aren't in a, in shape for a human or a dog or an animal or any living creature to be able to safely be able to traverse this. So in that sense, besides the kind of wow factor, the implications are really cool.
I think sometimes the movies make us overestimate what robots can do. Robots in real life are pretty fragile. They usually have to be on a flat surface. Those robots that they have in airports to lead you around can't go up and down stairs very well. So this kind of thing is important for robots being able to move into different situations, even outside of emergency.
I mean, outside of search and rescue, you can do maintenance. For example, throw one down a manhole, run down the length of the sewer. You don't need to have 3 guys run a camera on the end of a line and run it down. You can just have it go through. Or if you're like doing research, hey, I'm looking at this rare bird species. I don't want to freak it out with a 6-foot guy with a camera rummaging through the brush. I can put one of these, put a high an HD camera on the back of it, and let it very quietly and surreptitiously get any kind of information or data that way.
Those are great. Folks, if you are someone who knows the practical use for this kind of maneuverability for robots, share your expertise with us. feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Also, don't forget, you can keep up to date real fast. If you're short on time, it's good to have a backup subscription to Daily Tech Headlines at dailytechheadlines.com.
And thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit, because you help us uncover stories like robots that can do backflips. Submit stories and vote on others at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. If you want to hang out on Facebook, we've got good news. We're there too. Facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow.
Yeah, that article about the induction heating from yesterday came out of the subreddit. Derek Silva sent that along. So,
Indeed.
All right, we also love the emails. Send them along, and then we'll check them out in the mailbag.
We absolutely do. And we often say, hey, if this story resonated with you, will you let us know? And Ben did exactly that. Ben said, I got really excited when I heard you cover Excel's new ability to take a photo and make it a spreadsheet. I handle printouts of spreadsheets daily in my job as a low voltage electrician. We use them to lay out connection pathways at the data center I work at, filled with panel and device and port information. The ability to take a photo of that sheet and then have it become an editable document is great for me, as then I can make changes as needed to update the master that my foreman has. Also, I work with some pretty old school guys that just want the paper. So I often take a photo of the document for my own use, but that photo can be difficult to navigate sometimes. This would make it easier to highlight a row and easily identify all the connections that I need in one run. Just thought I'd give you another use case other than photos of spreadsheets in Word documents.
This is great. I love that Ben's like, I got really excited about Excel. And he has a really good reason. This is the thing I love is that we've got an electrician in the audience who's like, me, I'm excited about this. Let me tell you why.
And it makes perfect sense. So thank you so much, Ben.
We also got an email from Bex Fortin, a Patreon supporter. Thank you, boss. Who says, I bike to work daily and most places on the weekends. I would be happy to see delivery bots in the bike lanes for one simple reason. The more the bike lanes get used, the more drivers will respect them and more cities will be incentivized to build them. Reasonable speeds in a bike lane range from 7 to 15 miles an hour, so the robots should be able to get where they're going safely and on time. I'll be honest, when we talked about the robots in the bike lane, I expected to get a bunch of bicyclists telling me why that was a horrible idea. So I was very pleased to see Bex going, actually, I think it would be a good idea. Thank you, Bex.
I think that's a really good point, Bex, that if you liken it to more bikes in the bike lane, bicyclists would be like, yeah, because this is a necessary thing, and drivers should respect it, and this is something that perhaps is not respected enough now. So throw some robots in there. They all get along well, going roughly the same speed. I can see why. Yeah, this is a good thing. Share the road
with a robot. All right. Thanks to everybody who supports us at dailytechnewsshow.com/support. There are so many ways to support this show. You can buy some merch in our store. We have some stocking caps, aka toques, aka beanies, whatever you call them. They're warm. They go on your head. It's the perfect time of year to get one. We also have hoodies and t-shirts and onesies and all kinds of cool stuff. So if you haven't checked that out, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/store. There are other ways to support us too. And the best way, and the way that supports us the most, the people we are answerable to, are the people at patreon.com/DTNS. To thank you for sticking with us, Patreon is testing a merchandise program where we reward you with merchandise. So if you are at our top 2 tiers right now and you stick with us for 3 months, you can get either a DTNS mug or a poster with Len Peralta's DTNS 5-year anniversary art. This is a limited edition thing. So if you are at that tier, stay there. If you haven't been on that tier and you think, man, I can do that, go to patreon.com/DTNS/merch to check out the details.
Reminder, our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Write us early and often. We're live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 21:30 UTC, and you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
I'm traveling tomorrow, but Sarah will be here with Roger and Scott Johnson. They will talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Exactly 30 minutes.
Nailed it. God,
not
Roger.
That we need it to be, but it's just fun when it is,
It's just fun. Yeah.
It's just like a cool thing.
It's funny too, because it's like I trust the process. So it's like, I don't pay too close attention to. I mean, I'm kind of looking at time, and there are some times where I'm like, either like we seem like we're running long, or we seem like we're not. We're running like pretty short, and often it just ends exactly right, no matter what. So, kudos to us.
Yeah. No, it's pretty great. And Roger, we are putting our trust in Roger because he's the one who flashes.
Yeah, I mean, it's all Roger. Yeah.
And I don't really pay attention to the clock anymore either. I just look at that and I'm like, okay, yeah, time to move on.
Yeah.
Well done, Roger. All right. Where are our titles? Showbot.chatrealm.net. If you're in the IRC.
Chuckable cheetah.
Chuckable cheetah. Wow, that sounds like an 80s toy. Mommy, I want a Chuckable cheetah.
I want a Chuckable cheetah, please.
Ear-worn wearables, that's just still entertains me. Bend it like gorilla. Bend it like apple, also a good one. Clean bend it. Lots of good cheetah ones in here. It's only a cheetah if they get caught. Ha. The Business of Scholarship. That's a good one too. Journal of Irrelevant Journals. Weld Together right now over metals. Excellent Beatles reference. Thank you, Mojam. I
didn't even. That's so clever. I didn't get it. That's good.
What do you think?
Well, together. I like Chuckable cheetah.
Chuckable cheetah. Okay. If
you give me cheetah versus anything,
I was thinking Ear-worn Wearables is a responsible title, but
it is.
Chuckable cheetah. There we go. Chuckable.
It is like an 80s toy. Chuckable cheetah. What you gonna do with the cheetah? Chuck it.
Hey, don't chuck my cheetah. It's a chuckable. What? Get the chuckable cheetah now.
You put my peanut butter in my chocolate. You checked my cheetah.
Don't ask Mikey. He hates everything.
I don't watch enough TV anymore, but I've noticed a distinct lack of candy ads. or am I just?
I don't think
Yeah,
you're watching
I don't.
right
I don't.
stuff.
I don't.
They're out
I don't.
there.
I don't watch enough commercials to know either.
I see a lot of Reese's ads.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I do see a lot of Reese's ads.
I don't know why.
But I
don't know
feel
where I'm
like
seeing
I
it.
like just like see it online. It's not even really commercials, but I guess it's all the same thing at this point.
It's Will Arnett, and he's like, "Not sorry, Reese's." I'm like,
what? Like
Was
not
it-
sorry for eating it? type
Yeah, I
thing?
guess.
I haven't
don't
seen
know.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was what was the campaign for a while? There was no wrong way to eat a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Right.
Which
As
I
if there were a
disagree
raging
with. There are
debate.
lots of wrong ways to do it.
Well, I suppose that's true. Like putting a sweet pickle on top of it. Horrible.
Don't do that. That's
Nope.
wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong. It's just wrong for so many reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of M&M's commercials too, with the little M&M figurine.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Little
Well,
guys.
they had the Christmas campaign some years back that was so popular that I think that
Mhm.
it has
is
thrived since then.
That may be-
And sometimes it was like really morbid because you were like, oh, but they're about to get eaten. But they're like
Yeah.
they're like cute little men.
But that's what
weird.
they did with the California Raisins. Remember,
Yeah.
they were like a doo-wop group
Uh-huh.
that you ate.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. It was
Always
heard it through
weird.
the grapevine.
It is nice to see the chocolate bunnies in the store. I generally will buy one chocolate bunny every year, take it home and eat it before Eileen gets home. It's my Easter tradition.
Okay, so here, speaking of wrong way to eat these sorts of things,
Ah,
how do you dismember this bunny?
Oh, I
Because
go-
if it were me, like it has to be eaten ear like from the ears down.
ears first. Always
Yeah.
ears first. Yeah.
Ears first, yeah.
I've actually experimented. I tried not ears first. Just no. There's just no point.
No.
It's logistically and spiritually wrong.
To go, yeah,
To
like
go
feet
anywhere else,
first,
ear
or in from the side, yeah.
Where else you gonna go? I guess feet maybe, but there's not a whole lot of other options that aren't going to make the thing just crumble apart. So
I mean, yeah, I don't know why that makes so much sense to me too, but
unless
it does.
it's Reese's bunny, then there's no wrong way to eat it. Apparently,
You just drill a hole in the metal and go nuts.
I got really excited because one of the Reese's commercials had an Easter bunny and a Reese's peanut butter cup, and I was like, are they going to do a peanut butter filled bunny? I would buy that right away.
Why
But
don't they?
No, it was an ad for the Easter
Chris
egg.
Wackow
Has supported independent tech news directly for 5 years. Be
What's up?
like Chris.
Be like Chris.
Remember,
Do it.
patreon.com/DTNS. Be
Chris,
made with this process.
Then let it.
To check out the details. This is the
Reminder, our email
This
at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
I'm
Are we
traveling
on
to
acid?
That's the version
May or may not work.
show. I think Roger may have turned off his headphones.
Oh, sorry, I'm here. I'm here.
We could
Okay.
hear your editing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
was freaking out.
it was great. I was like, it's me. Wait, I'm not talking. Wait, it's Tom.
Well, you weren't reacting to our reacting, so it's like maybe he turned off his headphones. but
No,
he-
I turned you guys down just to make sure. That the
yeah,
audio
that's what it
fine.
was. Okay.
That's funny.
I mean, I
Um,
don't have to check the audio. I'm sorry.
No, you should check the audio. I was just we were laughing because we're like, whoa, it's flashback.
It is.
Deja vu. Did we just do this show?
Could you be the dream that I want?
You know what's funny? Now I'm thinking of Reese's. the regular size Reese's peanut butter cups. I haven't had one of those in a long time. I just haven't. But the mini ones, you get them in, Halloween candy, and I don't know. There's sometimes
foil wrapped ones, right?
yeah, you'll have a candy dish at the doctor's office or whatever. You see those around. I mean, I am popping those any chance I get. They're delightful.
My problem is the peanut butter is not that good.
Well, it isn't.
I have been
It's the
ruined
worst peanut butter.
By Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's
Uh,
makes the most divine peanut butter cups. And the problem is you can only buy them in like quart sizes, which is way more peanut butter than I need to have candy sitting
in your
around.
life. Mhm.
So I never buy them, but they're so good. The closest I can find to them in like a reasonable amount is the Justin's.
Justin's are good. I
They're
was going to
real good.
say,
Yeah.
they're real good.
And actually Butterfinger makes peanut butter cups now that are pretty close. they're pretty good. The only thing is, if you don't like Butterfinger, they have pieces of Butterfinger in the peanut butter, which I don't mind, but it's like, it's not, if you just want smooth peanut butter.
Who doesn't like a Butterfinger?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Get out of my house. That's
I'm
the
not
answer.
a fan. I'm not a fan.
There we go. That's why Roger doesn't do the show from Sarah's house.
Yeah. Our dinner party is canceled.
It's canceled.
Out.
You're out of here.
Out of here.
Really? You don't like Butterfinger?
I don't hate them. It's just like if I had a choice from a bowl of Halloween candy, Butterfingers would be.
It's not the one you go to.
It would be at the bottom along with Babe Ruth.
I could even see somebody who likes Butterfinger not wanting it in the peanut butter cup, right? Like that could be a thing too.
Remember, speaking of commercials, remember when Baby Ruth and Butterfinger were marketed together, and there was a song about the two of them?
No.
Baby Ruth, Butterfinger, tear into them. Which do you choose? You don't remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, this was like a very popular. I don't know. We're probably going back to the 80s again on this one because that's where all of my memories come from. But yeah, it was like the whole idea was like which one are you gonna choose? They're both so great.
There we go. They're fresh, guaranteed.
They're very not fresh.
Buttery Butterfinger. Fresh and tasty just for you.
Just for you.
Guaranteed.
I mean, what the depths? It's like of all the things I've forgotten, like that one just sticks.
Was it because people kept buying stale Baby Ruths as they had to do?
I don't know. That's a good question.
How's it fresh?
Because they're not really similar. They're like a very different candy bar from each other.
Maybe it was Nabisco's least, like the worst selling brands that Nabisco had. They're like, well, let's just put them both in a commercial and juice the numbers.
Totally. Yeah. Right. Yes.
Isn't it like an Almond Joy and what's
Mounds?
Mounds.
I hate both of those. Ugh.
Although those actually feel
because you don't
they
like
do go
coconut
together, 'cause they're
I don't like that style of coconut, like that weird dry candied. They put on. They also put it on cakes and stuff. Like if it was fresh shaved coconut, I would love it, but desiccated coconut's gross to me.
In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that there was a song about Mounds and Almond Joy as well. I can't remember it exactly right now.
Almond Joy got nuts, Mounds don't.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
Yeah. Sometimes you feel like a nut.
I
Sometimes you don't.
love Almond Joy. Mounds, It's
My
sort of
friend-
like why wouldn't you just want the almond?
That's funny
version of
because
it?
growing up, I liked Mounds. I did not want Almond Joy. I was like, why do you want to stick a nut in my otherwise perfectly good chocolate bar?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Now I'm more of an almond fan. I don't mind Almond Joy at all.
I've always been a Crackle fan. I just like the crispy crunch. I actually prefer Crackle over Nestle Crunch.
You don't find Crackle as often, though. That's the
You,
problem.
you
In
only
fact, I'm like,
get it at
what's
Halloween bite-sized, fun-sized candies
Yeah.
in those places.
That and Mr. Goodbar, if only
Yeah, I
in,
didn't
the,
like
in the
Goodbars.
small, in the mini size.
Didn't
Mr.
LL
Goodbar.
Cool J sing a song about Mr. Goodbar? I don't think he was talking about the candy.
Another Mr.
Frank Zappa
Muzzins.
referenced Mr. Goodbar in one of his songs.
Maybe it was.
I wonder
You looking
is
for Mr. Goodbar? Well, here he is.
is that like a wink like reference to something
think
that I
Mr.
don't understand?
Goodbar- I don't know. It's chicken and the egg for me. Mr. Goodbar is slang for like, a hustling dude kind of, ready and willing. And I don't know if the candy was like a wink name, like named after that, or whether it was the candy was named first and then they started using it.
I mean, if the candy was not named first, I'm impressed. If they were like, you know what, we're gonna get a hustler candy bar. We're gonna call it
name it
Mr.
after,
Goodbar.
Yeah.
Listen, they have candy like they have $100,000. I mean, like think of all the candies that are like oddly named.
$100,000 grand bar.
Why is that $100,000? Because it feels like it.
100,000, right? Not
Yeah.
100.
Yeah, it's 100,000.
Yeah.
$100,000.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you don't say $100,000 and grand because it's like ATM machine.
Three Musketeers. There's another one. Why are three guys on a candy bar?
Well, because that's named after the very
Three
famous piece of
Musketeers.
literature.
No, I understand, but like, what is the relation to the candy, like to a candy bar?
I
You
see.
understand? It's like Milky Way. I can understand because when you crack it open, it kind of looks like the Milky Way, or feel like milky chocolate or whatever. But like, I mean,
Well, all names are just meant to evoke a feeling. So I guess Three Musketeers is like, oh, you'll be energetic.
it'll
Because
taste
candy
like
bars used to be sold as energy. Like in the, in
Like
between
power
your meals,
bars?
you need to pick up your energy. You eat a candy bar.
a Snickers.
My mom just texted me that there used to be a candy bar called Love Nest.
Whoa.
Oh, like who wants to eat that candy bar?
That sounds rather uncomfortable.
Doesn't it though?
Would
Yeah.
anyone care for a love nest?
Look at me.
Well, then there was that old candy key party, which I don't know which one first.
Sunken living room style.
Oh, I see you've brought out the love nest.
Can I interest you in a love nest? No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want that.
This pit is kind of my limit. Well, it's a sunken floor. It's a pit. It's a pit, and you only have it because your house is raised on a raised foundation.
So, Mr. Goodbar, according to Urban Dictionary, which
Mhm.
is always right,
Yeah.
is a pulp culture phrase that references the 1977 film of the same name starring Diane Keaton, used to describe a all too common cultural phenomenon and stereotype, whereupon entering a local watering hole, one spots a noticeably middle-aging female who, without asking her, one can already glean some details about her. And I will just stop there. You can go to
Okay. That settles it then, because the movie was referencing the chocolate bar, which was introduced in 1925.
Oh, wow. All right. Very, I mean, gosh, 1925. Okay.
And the reason, and this is one of the, I think this is one of the reasons Mr. Goodbar has disappeared, is because first you had that movie come out, and suddenly now that name was associated with something else. And then Hershey had created Hershey bars with almonds, but didn't want the brand name associated with a chocolate bar that contained nuts. So it introduced,
Why?
I don't
was
know
that
why.
Okay.
It introduced a fictitious company to create Mr. Goodbar. And so now you have,
How deep does this go?
you have Hershey bars with almonds, but you also still have Mr. Goodbar.
Huh. I don't know that
I'm not with
ever
almonds,
had a
with
Mr.
peanuts,
Goodbar.
with peanuts. You have Hershey bar with peanuts. I've only ever had the mini ones. I don't think I ever had a full size Mr. Goodbar.
No.
It's just
No,
a
I
Hershey
guess
bar with
I guess
peanuts.
you're true. I've definitely had the mini ones.
Yeah.
Like, because I can see the
But you're right. I always buy Nestle Crunch, and I actually think I like Crackle better too, Roger. It's just you never see them. So
Yeah, I remember when they went upscale and they came out with Score.
Score.
It's like a weird.
Score, I didn't think Score had rice in it, did it? I thought Score
No, it had like toffee in it, but those
Coffee, yeah,
I
yeah.
actually liked it. It was like
I
one
like
of the
Score
weird.
too.
I enjoyed a Score. You know what else I loved? A Rolo.
Oh, Rolos.
Rolos were so fun
Everything.
to
Oh wait,
eat.
that's a Tootsie Roll. Tootsie. Everything.
I never
I
could
think
eat just
it's a-
one either.
No.
You just
Once
eat the whole
once
roll.
you start, you eat the entire thing.
Yeah.
They look like furniture, like little stoppers that you put on the bottom of your chair.
Yes, they
Don't
do.
work though.
No.
Don't
What
put
was-
a Rolo on the
Rolo
bottom
is
of your
another one
chair.
of those things where you have to eat it in a very specific way, or you're just
Well-
going to ruin the whole thing.
But the great thing is you could take one or two pieces and you could wrap up the rest. So you weren't forced to eat it all at one time.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of packaging in the Rolo.
Well,
roll.
video folks, I hope we haven't made you gain 17 pounds in chocolate eating. But we will be back tomorrow. I won't, but they will. So please join us then. And audio folks, stick around. A bag of Rolos